If you watch this video in its entirety, you will completely understand the reason why we Americans have the reputation that we have when it comes to traveling outside of the US.
What's up, cousins, and welcome back again on another episode today. How are you all doing? I hope you all are well, and if you are joining for the very first time, thank you so much for tuning in. In today's video, we are going to be talking about a TikToker, a Canadian TikToker that isn't known to be Canadian to a lot of people stitching his video. We are going to be talking about the video he made after one of his fans or followers asked him how was Europe. He decided to narrate his whole experience visiting Europe and the things that he liked and the things that he doesn't like. And in that video, he mentioned how they don't like Americans and how they are so shitty to Americans. And the way he was narrating his entire experience sparked a conversation, and because he mentioned American in his video, a lot of people were stitching to his video, thought he was an American, and then they were coming for Americans. So this is how this video is, and I'm just going to roll the clip of where he talked about how his experience in Europe was.
Honestly, Europe was like half amazing, half kind of dog shit. People love to glamorize Europe because it's stunning, but there's a lot of shitty things about it too. So we started off in Greece. We did Crete and we did Ios, and honestly, I wouldn't go back to either of them. Ios is stunning, but really it's like a frat island. You go there if you're like 18 to 25. Crete had some nice things about it, but the people there were so goddamn condescending and rude. It ruined it. Like, they fucking hate Americans there. And like, dude, I'm half Greek. They treated me like I was a peasant. I honestly probably would never go back besides maybe Mykonos. And I know that the sunsets and the beaches are beautiful in Greece, but it's kind of like an inch away from being a third world country. I was so upset. I was actually so looking forward to Greece. Next up, we went to Budapest, which is beautiful. I highly recommend you go there. The architecture there is stunning. There's a bunch of things to do. I would recommend going there for 2 nights, having a blast. It's great. We were there for a couple nights, which one of them got ruined because we did a boat tour and there was like a really sketchy dude following us on it. And we're like in a different country. We didn't know what the going on. So it kind of like up the whole trip, but other than that, it was beautiful. After that, we went to Prague, Czechia, which is pretty much a 10 out of 10. There's a lot to do. I found the people really nice. The food was really good. It's stunning there. The only notch I have on it, and this is very controversial, is I think the nightlife sucks. And it is literally ranked as one of the top nightlife cities in the world, not even close. In my opinion, the nightlife in Prague and Budapest is like a decade behind. Would still highly recommend Prague though. Next, we went to Berlin, which I would never go back to Berlin ever in my life. The best part about Berlin is actually like going to the wall, doing the Holocaust stuff. That stuff is crazy because it's fucked. This is me not trying to be offensive. This is me just being honest. Berlin is great if you're like woke or LGBTQT. You'll probably love the Berlin. I'm neither, so it just is not really my vibe. Also, the nightlife style there is like very kinky BDSM, which is just not my and I stuck out like a sore thumb. Me and my buddy also didn't get into any clubs because we weren't girls or didn't have girls with us, obviously, because we're losers. But yeah, we didn't get into any clubs, so I was just like, place guys. Our last stop was Amsterdam, which is honestly, in my opinion, 10 out of 10. Would recommend. It is so much fun. Super nice there. The red light district is so cool. You have to go check it out. I don't care who you are. And anyways, yeah, I didn't do anything though.
What do you guys think about the way he narrated his experience in Europe? Because I noticed that was one of the things that the people who stitched to his video were pointing out. So that is the rundown of his experience in Europe, and he talked about how he would not visit or revisit some places again because they were so shitty to him. And he as well mentioned that they don't like Americans, that they really, he even used the H word, said they really hate Americans so much. So the people who were coming to stitch to his video, especially the people in Europe who were coming to stitch to his video, thought it was American, so they were, coming for him, saying he was rude, condescending, and that's the reason why he was being treated that way, not knowing that he's actually a Canadian person living in Canada. So the people were coming for him thinking he was American, and on the other hand throwing few punches to Americans, which did not sit well with some Americans, and then they were coming for the people coming for him because they thought he was American. I'm going to roll the clip of what people have to say about his video and how he narrated his experience, and how people concluded that a lot of his experience in Europe was because of how rude he is, because he was giving off that same energy in his video while narrating his experience.
Honestly, Europe was like half amazing, half kind of dog.
Okay, if you haven't seen this guy's TikTok, he's basically talking about how he didn't enjoy Europe because people were very rude and condescending and how they all hate Americans. I'm an American who's been living in London for the last 4 years, and I can say that I've traveled across Europe and have never had this type of experience. And it's not about the fact that you're American and that's why you're having a shit time. It's about your behavior. And yeah, I will agree with the sentiment that a lot of Americans who travel are fucking annoying, and it's because they're not respectful and they don't know how to act. from the way that this guy talks, being like, oh yeah, like when I was in Greece, they treated me like a peasant, they treated me like this, it's like a third world country there, I can already assume why locals weren't very nice to you. You need to reflect on the behavior that you were exhibiting to receive that type of treatment. You cannot go somewhere, act like a buffoon, act disrespectful, and expect nice behavior from locals. That's just not how it works. And for you to say that the best time that you had was in Amsterdam in the red light district, that's it. That shows us all we need to know. So no, the issue isn't Americans, even though, yeah, majority of Americans who travel can be very inconsiderate. The issue is your behavior. So figure it out, mate. And if you hate it so much, don't come back here. We don't need any more people here.
Sending and rude, it ruined it. Like, they eat Americans there.
So while I totally agree that the global sentiment of Americans in general is extremely low, especially on TikTok and like online, and generally the world like absolutely hates Americans, I feel like this doesn't really translate to in-person interactions, like, and in this case, Europe specifically. In my experience, if you're treated poorly or if people are rude to you, it generally isn't because you're strictly American. Like if you go to the Stitch or the original video, this guy just gives off like a very aggressive, abrasive vibe that I just know would not be received well in many countries in Europe. But when I'm traveling and I see other Americans traveling, I feel like there's this kind of awareness that we have that we're loud and rude and we just have this reputation. And so I see a lot of Americans overcompensating and being extremely polite and like apologetic when ordering, or like attempting to speak the language, or like smiling and like lots of smiling to show, you know, like we're friendly, we're not a piece of shit. Despite having traveled to like a lot of Europe, and they could be talking shit behind my back, but at least in person I don't get treated badly. And like the one-off times where I did, it most likely was actually because they're just being racist against Asian people and not actually because I was American. And I think generally when you go to countries and you're being loud and obnoxious and entitled, like regardless of whether you're American, British, Australian, you're just not going to get treated well. And in person, at least, it doesn't have anything to do with the fact that you're American.
I honestly probably would never go back besides maybe Mykonos. And
when I watched this for the first time, I thought it was satire because of the part where he said that he hated Amsterdam, but he loved the red light district, so everybody should go. But then I realized he was serious. As a German/Bosnian person, do you Americans ever do any research before you do or go anywhere? People hate you because you say things like, oh, Greek people, like, Greece has beautiful nature, but it's a shithole. You know what also applies to Greece? It's old as fuck and has culture, unlike your countries. And then the comment about the German shit. Why would you call it the Holocaust And then in his videos, he's like, it was dog shit. And then he said, you have to do that because it's fucked. Like, no like, listen, to all normal Americans who want to go to European countries at some point, just be normal, be polite, don't call other people's countries shitholes maybe, when your own isn't exactly, and your political landscape is. Maybe learn some phrases of a foreign language and don't complain when people that you meet, like 80-year-old vendors in Greece who own an independent shop, don't speak perfect English. Like, sorry, I can't with you.
Honestly, Europe was like half amazing, half kind of dog shit.
I love this video because it proves my point. Under that video, that comment section is filled with, oh my god, we hate Americans. This is why nobody likes people from America. You guys are so rude, you're so entitled, you're this, you're that, you're obnoxious. Okay, cool, we get it. I was having kind of a hard time understanding why you're bringing up people from the United States of America under a video of a guy who's from Canada. I thought you guys were so great at telling Canadians and Americans apart. Clearly you're not. Clearly you guys can't tell the difference. Canadians can also be assholes abroad. Just like Americans can be assholes abroad, and just like people from literally any country on the planet can be assholes abroad. It is not specific to any one nation, okay? I'm sitting here wondering, you guys always love to talk about how Americans are so terrible. I wonder how many people with just native sounding English accents you just attributed to being American because it fits your agenda. You really want to push, oh my god, Americans are the worst abroad. So anybody, whether they're Canadian, even Australians, you guys will do it too. Be like, oh my god, Americans suck. Hello, you guys can't even tell the difference. That's really bold. That's really bold. Anyway, moral of the story is people can suck from anywhere, doesn't matter what country you're from. And for the record, homeboy's Canadian, so I don't know why you're talking about Americans. Hello?
Look, let me tell you this. If you go to a country and the country did not live up to your expectation of what you were sold in your part of the world about what the country needs to look like, it sounds like a you problem. The amount of times I've seen Americans come on this platform, make videos about how they went to a specific country and they was disappointed because of the infrastructure, about things they did not see, about things they did not get, the list goes on. Because again, they were disappointed they did not get what they were sold in America. And most of the time, a lot of you within America, not all, some are sold a dream that, you guys live in the greatest country in the world and you already have this sense of, I'm better when you go to other country. I'm not saying all of you, but some. And that has a lot to do about your experience, especially when you go within those countries. Maybe put a mirror and then let's start talking.
Like, they hate Americans there. And like, dude, I'm half Greek. They treated me like I was a
So as an American who travels full-time and has spent much of the last 2 years in the Mediterranean, have you thought for a second that it might just be your personality? In the last 2 years, I've spent a bunch of time in Italy, Croatia, Greece, Albania, and Cyprus. And I cannot recall one time I was treated poorly or rudely because I was American. In fact, I just spent 2 weeks in Greece with my daughter, and I found Greeks to be the most hospitable people. Now, in my travels, have I come across obnoxious and loud Americans? Yes. But they are not the majority. And actually what I find is that there's two factors at play. One is xenophobia. And in that xenophobia is the tendency to point out any white English-speaking tourist who's behaving rudely, loudly, or obnoxiously and pointing your finger and going, oh, Americans. Most of the time, they're not even American. They're British or Australian. The other factor at play is that if you're a douchebag, it's not going to be received well in Europe. In the US, we sort of plaster a customer service smile on our face and kind of more patiently than other places tolerate rude, disrespectful, obnoxious behavior. This is not the case in Europe. At least not where I spend my time, which is, like I said, in the Mediterranean. If you act like a douchebag, be prepared to be met with irritation. Now, I don't know anything about this original creator, but I do know that I tend to find that when you are able to make broad generalities about how poorly the people in a place treat you, you might have something to do with that.
What are your thoughts about what they all said? Even though they all thought he's from America, but he's not from America, he's from Canada. So in the comment section, there were a lot of people bashing Americans, saying they are rude, they are condescending. And as well, what do you think about how he narrated his experience in Europe? Because a lot of comments were like, it's you, you're so loud, you're rude, the way you're even narrating the experience is just so rude and disrespectful. You don't expect people to treat you well. If this is the vibe that you are giving, even just from narrating your experience, how on earth do you expect the people and the locals that you meet all over there treat you right when you are just even condescending just from narrating the experience in the video? And I think the reason why a lot of people in the comment section of his own video were coming for Americans was because of the fact that he mentioned American in that video. He talked about how they hate Americans so much in Europe, and I think that's the reason why they were coming for him, thinking he's American. I would like to hear your thoughts in the comment section. What do you guys think about how he narrated the experience, and what do you guys think about people that were literally coming for him? Let me hear your thoughts in the comment section, and make sure you subscribe before you go, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, and I love you guys.